What can you tell me?
Wristwatch, leather band, brass, not gold. Old, and worn down. Oh, but it's full of meaning. Oh, it wasn't yours originally, was it? You took it, or you stole it, didn't you? Oh, I see an older man. Oh, the boy hates him. Oh, the boy would love to be loved, but he hates that man. Oh. Death. Death and the wish of death.
He loved that watch. That was his pride, my father.
Was it now? No, that's it. That's it. That's it.
You're listening to The Night Before, a movie podcast. Each episode, we find a unique place in the city and share a drink and our thoughts about the movie we watched the night before. This is Lee, and I am joined, as always, by my husband, Jesse.
And we're back. We did it. We're here at a new place
I like how sometimes we say we're back.
outside of Tampa.
Like people have been waiting for us to get back.
Maybe.
Since the last
You never
episode.
know. They might be waiting.
No, I say we did it because we finally stepped out of our zone, which we haven't done in a little while.
Yeah, just for various reasons.
Yeah, last episode we were at Seventh Son, a favorite of ours, but now we're at Grindhaus Brewing
Brew
Lab.
Lab.
But it's house like H-U-S.
H-A-U-S.
H-U-S, that's what I meant to say, yeah. What did I say?
H-U-S.
I forgot the A.
Yeah, that's okay.
But it's sort of like when I saw this on the Google Maps, I was thinking coffee shop, grinds.
Yeah, it kind of seems like that might be it, but it's not.
It's movies,
So we were,
like Grindhouse film.
yeah.
But it's not, but at that token, it's not like Grindhouse cinema either. It's just celebration
But
of
it
cinema.
is movie themed,
Yeah.
which we were pleasantly surprised.
It's
we
a
like
celebration of quirkier cinema or, just cinema, I guess, in
Huh.
general.
that. So it's fun. I mean, I'm glad we found this place.
It seems right up our alley.
It
I was
does.
thinking about sometimes we always talk about, like, jokingly, like, which I'm sure everybody jokes about, who goes to breweries. We're always like, oh, we should open a brewery.
I don't think everybody thinks about that the way we do.
No, I'm thinking people who
Because
go to,
everywhere we go that we like, we're like, we should open this.
but people who go to breweries probably think that.
Maybe.
But what I'm thinking is this would be closer to what we would do
Yes.
thematically.
Because it encompasses our interest.
Aesthetically, we might do it different.
Aesthetically, we might do it different, although it's really cute and hodgepodge,
It's like
hodgepodge
an
in a
eclectic
good way.
look. They have
Eclectic.
two
yeah.
sections. First part, the tasting room area is like a living room vibe, which we set up there first for our first drink.
Just like a
And-
little event going on, so.
And the music's loud. But we moved into the movie room, which is like a back room. But they're not showing a movie tonight,
No, they're not showing a movie tonight, so we kind of have the room to ourselves, which is nice.
currently. But people are welcome
Which
to
is
come
nice.
in if they want. Come on in, guys. Room's free.
Nobody here.
There's a bunch of people in the other room.
There is.
But thus, it seems like this is a quieter podcast for us.
Yeah, it seems like a really, like, the people serving are really nice and kind of
And this weekend they played,
small local feel.
this Friday and Saturday, they played a bunch of Hitchcock films.
And they seem to create beers or have beers that go along with.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
And we'll post some pictures on our Instagram. They have like sections for like certain movie posters. They have little, they're like paying homage to certain films or actors or things. Like they have a
Right.
Bruce Campbell section. They have a Bill Murray. They got Tim Burton. And they got other movie posters all over the place. I'm staring at some Hitchcock posters as well.
Mm-hmm.
Creature from the Back Lagoon. And then also, like beer-wise, they have some neat stuff, right? We got sours.
We're
I
focusing
tried.
on the. We're
Did
kind
you
of
like?
trying all their sours.
You had. Did you like your
I
Tri
had
Wizard
the
Triple
Tri
Berry?
Wizard Triple Berry. That's been my favorite one so far.
What about
And
anyone
you
else?
for
Yeah.
what did you have
Oh,
first?
I
What
had
did
my-
you have first?
Say, did you like your? No, I had some like it hot, which was a pickle and jalapeno sour.
I was a little pretty. I didn't even try it. I should have.
You didn't take a sip. It was like pickle juice.
Salted sour.
It was good. It was different. It made me want pizza. So we might have to
We
track
might
down
have
pizza
some
after this.
later.
And then we got 3 more that you ordered. They come in neat little beakers.
Like Kent's Brew Lab.
Oh, laboratory.
Yeah.
But tell me what you got.
So
for
we
the
got
drinks. What am I sipping
Never
on
Trust
now?
the Living. That's a lime sour ale.
And it's really good.
with
Which one are you
vanilla.
sipping on?
I'm sipping on the strawberry vanilla
I took
sour
a sip
ale.
of that. It
And then there's
lives up to its name.
yeah, it's very strawberry-ish. And then there's
I like
blueberry
this lime one.
sour ale
I like
with
it.
vanilla. So you like the lime one?
Yeah.
Best? Okay.
I could be drinking this till the credits roll.
You might be.
And I hope we get to. We're gonna have to, strike up some partnerships. Hope we can do something.
Do an event here would be
here.
fun.
The Night Before podcast at Grindhaus Brewing Lab. Just
Summer
send them
Scare
messages, all our fans. Say, hey,
All our fans.
do something. You need to bring Night Before to your place.
Yeah.
Or if they're
Tell 'em.
listening,
Tell
let's do
'em.
it. Let's hook up.
Tell them.
We got some movie ideas.
It would be
some
fun
nights.
to
I'm always
fill
talking.
this room
That's what I mean about the
of
brewery part.
Night Before
There's
people.
always, sometimes I program little movie ideas, like little double features
Mm-hmm.
for friends at the house, or we've done Summer Scare Fest
Summer
before.
Scare Fest. That's what I was thinking. This would
I
be a
know.
good place for Summer Scare Fest.
I know.
There's a brewery here. Could order beers.
It's great. We'll do it. So this weekend we sort
Maybe
of
they'd make a beer.
we were
based
hot.
on
We saw
our
2
thing.
movies.
Be fun.
Yeah.
Okay, 2 movies we saw this weekend.
And we saw
At
one
the
last
theater.
night,
At
one
the
the other night.
theater.
We're taking full advantage of our AMC.
Movie Pass.
They just make movies better. You know that?
Yeah, what did she say? What do you like? What's the line?
Somehow heartbreak feels good in a place like this.
Yeah.
But at the end of it, it says AMC. We make movies better.
We make movies better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, so we tried to find a spot last night to talk about one of the films, but it was getting late, and there was also a private party happening there.
Yeah, we went to,
Avid Brewing in St.
Avid
Petersburg.
Brewing.
Which is, again, stepping out of our comfort zone, new place.
which was great. I mean,
We wanted to go to another place, Cage Brewing.
Yep.
but
we
this
didn't.
loud,
It was not
like
the right place. Not
corn
the right
inspired
vibe.
metal band was playing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we paused till Sunday, and now we're here.
Now we're here. So cheers to that.
Thanks, I
We'll
appreciate
do
it.
a
Oh, we
beginning
got
of the
TV stuff
podcast.
on.
Cheers.
Let's see. Oh, they're getting some stuff on the TV, so this is good.
All right.
All right, so 2 movies. We're going to talk about.
We're going to talk about which one first?
I think Nightmare Alley.
Nightmare Alley.
We did
Okay.
Nightmare Alley and Parallel Mothers.
Okay.
But I think what we'll do for this, because I think when we get to Parallel Mothers, we can't really talk about it much without going into like full-blown spoilers.
Right.
We'll do like a general with that. But Nightmare Alley, on the other hand, I think we can kind of talk about a bit without
Right.
spoiling it.
Yeah.
But I do want to talk about something at the ending. So I'm thinking our first half, let's just talk Nightmare Alley, our general feelings. Then we'll figure out a way to talk about the ending of Nightmare Alley.
Okay.
Something, I don't know.
Like, we could,
There's just one little part I want to talk about at the end.
okay. We could jump. I mean, we could jump after Parallel Mothers and talk about
Yeah,
it.
we'll figure it
I
out.
don't know. We'll see.
And also, Nightmare Alley is on HBO Max and Hulu now. But we saw it in the theater this weekend as the special black and white version of the film.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize this. It was like this weekend was the launch of the black and white.
Oh, I didn't know that.
As a way to kind of spark some more interest in the film. It didn't do great box office.
Okay.
But apparently the black and
There
white
wasn't a
version.
lot of people in the theater watching it.
No, no.
I think there was like 6
and
people.
2 people left halfway through.
I know.
I was like, what are you doing?
Who does that? And not even halfway through. They were 3/4 of the way
We were in the
through.
final act.
Yeah, for sure.
I think they were
I
like,
thought that was weird. Unless
maybe
they had someplace to
somewhere
be.
to be. And the movie's long. So general thoughts, Nightmare Alley.
I liked it.
You liked it.
I didn't love it.
Mm.
It kept my attention though, and there was a lot of things I liked about it. I did think it was a little too long. Like they could have condensed it a little bit. But I liked it. I mean, it had a lot going on and I liked the feel of it, like the vibe of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It was different than anything I'd seen setting wise and just set back in that time period.
It was set in like the 1940s.
40s.
Carnival life.
In carnival life, which that's kind of a weird. I thought Bradley Cooper was really good in it. I liked him in it. All the actors and actresses are really good.
It had like a huge cast.
Kate Blanchett,
Willem Dafoe.
Rooney Mara. Is that her name? Rooney Mara.
Mm-hmm.
She was really good.
And
What's the blonde?
too many people to name.
Wait,
You said Kate Blanchett already.
no, the other one. That played Xena.
Oh, Xena. Oh, look, you know the characters' names.
Collette.
Yeah, Toni Collette.
Toni Collette.
She's always good.
So she's always really good. We saw her in something recently.
Ron Perlman. Like, it's just like a ton of people.
Really good cast. So I liked the story a lot.
Well, the story of like Bradley Cooper, who's this just shady character.
Yeah.
I mean, the second you see him, it starts off, he's already like disposing of a dead body.
And I really liked how the movie started like that. It really pulls you in right away. The fire and whatnot. But I like that you don't know the whole story behind that. You know from the beginning that it's his father or some older fatherly figure man. But I like how kind of that develops and you kind of figure it out at the end.
Yeah, he falls. Well, then Bradley Cooper, just because of his shady, whatever he did at the beginning of the film, you can tell he's kind of on the run. He just falls in with the carnies. And it's just like life in the carnival, which is really cool.
So he's just trying to survive. He's just trying to make a buck at first.
Yeah, well, he's learning quick.
Yeah.
So did you like, we saw it in black and white. We've peeked at parts of it in color at home on the HBO. But what are your thoughts?
I liked it in black and white because of the time periods. I felt like it matched the time period. Whenever there's violence, which this one is kind of violent, I do enjoy the black and white kind of takes a little bit of that away for me, which is nice. Because I don't love like the blood and I mean, it's not like a gory movie, like a slasher movie, but it's...
Well, a dude bites the head off a chicken.
Right, the guy... So I feel like
the geek.
The severity of that is tamed with the black and white, which is nice for me, personally. But I just think it matched the time period. It kind of puts you in that time period more easily.
No, I agree.
So I liked the black and white.
It is a remake of a 1947 film, which I haven't seen, by the same title. Same sort of plot.
Right.
The Bradley Cooper character, which is Stanton Carlisle, right?
Uh-huh.
Who's on the run, joins the carnival, and kind of learns how to be a mentalist, how to exploit
people, read their
for
minds.
money, like kind of be a con artist. And he kind of rises to fame, but then he falls as well, right? Which is the basic.
Which the whole lesson is like, don't. What do they keep saying through it? Don't.
Well, don't play the spook, they say.
Right.
Don't do the spook act.
Don't do the spook act, and don't start believing.
But you'll start to believe your lies.
Believing it yourself, yeah, and kind of because that's going to be your downfall, which, you know.
No, I'll get to that in a minute. I felt
That's going to be it, though.
Of course.
From the beginning, which is fine, but that's bound to happen.
Well, it's based on an older film. It is this sort of film noir thing, which all those films too. Not only the look. It's funny that we're in a place that played Hitchcock this weekend, but it's the same thing. It's those films also are typically the downfall of the main character.
Right.
It's not only dark movies, black and white movies
It's
with
the
shadows.
formula.
It's also the fact of it's more of the underbelly of society,
Mm-hmm.
and the main characters become victim to it.
Yeah.
And I felt the black and white. Even when we watched the color, it looks really beautiful. Like Guillermo del Toro directed it beautifully. But I think what also initially turned me off, I wasn't interested in seeing this in the trailers for two reasons. It's crazy long, 2.5 hours long.
It was long.
And number two, the way it looked a bit phony.
With
right?
the carnival setup and stuff.
Well, the carnival setup, the colors, though it looked like almost like a matte washed out golds and reds, and it looked really good. And Bradley Cooper with this sort of like 1940s hat on, and you know what I mean? And Kate Blanchett in her dress and the way she looks. You see it, and it looks a little artificial, or just a little whatever, fabricated.
With the color.
Yeah. And not even really seeing a trailer for the black and white, only knowing it's in black and white, I just felt like you're instantly in that, like you said, you're in that mood.
It puts you in it more.
Yeah. And nothing, whether the blood and the gore, whether the way things are painted and looked, you know, like I said, it has almost that, the color version has this like patina effect, it seems, right? Like you're trying to make it look old.
Yeah.
Where the black and white version just
Looks old.
looks old.
Yeah. The only thing I really wanted to see in color was Kate Blanchett because she's so beautiful. Her makeup is like impeccable. She's just like, there was something like, I just kept thinking like, I want to see what color her dress is, or I want
Yeah.
to see what color her lipstick is. Like
Well, I
I
think
wanted
some of
to
the stuff
see her.
later with her in it, it would have been nice to see the
That's the only
contrast.
thing, yeah, that I kind of like wanted to see in color.
But I think with the
everything
carnival,
else was
with
good.
all the cold and the snow that's throughout of it, that's throughout the film too. It was one of those films you see it, and it's within a minute or two, you just feel it's meant to be in black and white.
I agree for sure. I mean, I really enjoyed it. Again, I think 2.5 hours is a little much. Like, seems like all movies they want to make longer now. Like, I think 2.5 hours, it didn't need 2.5 hours.
Okay.
There were parts of
get
it
to it
I
in a
think they
minute.
could have condensed.
Well, maybe.
but
Yes. He does. Well, he takes its time the first like hour. And
really
then
developing.
the last 30 minutes or so just like wishes by. But I will say this, and we'll get to this in a minute
True.
with Parallel Mothers, which is, I say, only 2 hours long. Parallel Mothers felt like a 4-hour film.
It did.
It felt like it just was never going to end.
It did. It
And
did.
it's like I was watching Parallel Mothers, and I'm thinking, oh, clearly we're nearly at the end. And then like a whole nother act emerges. And I'm like, oh.
Parallel Mothers seemed long, and I couldn't decide if it seemed long. Well, we'll talk about
No,
that
we can
later.
talk. Let's talk about Parallel Mothers. Because I
couldn't-
think what we'll do is So I think overall we liked Nightmare Alley. I think for anybody with HBO Max, 100% you should watch it.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
I think there's a ton to see there. I think it's one of the better films. I think this is in relation to the lengthwise. I think it's one of the better constructed films by the numbers. It's just a film. It's textbook screenwriting, textbook filmmaking. Nightmare Alley is.
Yeah,
And
really
it might be
good.
because it's based on an original, another movie. So even though it is long, I felt when you're watching it,
You're into the story.
but
I mean,
everything makes sense in it. Everything
yeah.
is connected.
you're not confused or.
So though it did feel a bit long, it didn't feel like 2.5 hours long.
No, it didn't.
Where
I didn't actually realize it was that long.
where Parallel Mothers was only 2 hours, but it felt so much longer than that. Like you never felt you knew where it was going, even though it was long. You couldn't see. I couldn't see the real structuring of.
Yeah, I
Parallel
think
Mothers?
Parallel Mothers lacked structure.
Only when it bookended, it said, "Oh, Parallel Mothers opens with
Right.
this idea about the Spanish Civil War, which I don't know much about,
And the cleaning of the graves and all
and
that stuff.
this
yeah.
reconnecting of Penelope Cruz's grandparents connecting to that family legacy, and then it comes back at the end, and you're like, oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's what bookends this story.
Yeah, and I think I know Parallel Mothers is, meant to be artistic and all of that,
Which,
but
as on a side note,
it misses the mark artistically a little bit. I feel like it is artistic, but
well, it's a Spanish film, and it's hard, and it definitely has some leanings on the Spanish novella soap opera style.
right. Yeah. Oh yes, I totally got that from it.
With the extreme close-ups, some of the over-dramatic responses.
Right.
And it's a movie that you're reading the subtitles, and it's a movie which I also appreciate that things happen, but nothing really. It's a movie where they talk about everything. They talk through everything. You're just listening to two people talking about everything throughout the film.
And I guess the point is supposed to tie the Civil War, like the themes of the Civil War,
Yes.
and like the like generationally not having control over what happened to those people, paralleling with these mothers' lack of control of the situation they were in as well, like in the protection. I guess it's all tied together, but I think it's so kind of an abstract concept. Not probably if you live in Spain.
It's
or you were part of that.
Less so. You'll know more about. Well, yes and no. See, that's what I mean. I appreciate Parallel Mothers for what it's doing and saying. And yeah, it's a film that you could watch a couple more times and do a little more research.
Yeah, do more research
about
and
Spanish
understand
Civil
it
War,
more.
and you can see the connections. Where a film like Nightmare Alley, as I'm watching it, I'm like, oh, this is great. Act 1 is wrapping up. Now he's leaving the carnival, and now he's going to the big city. Act 2, big city.
Right.
And then the movie sort of shifts tonally. It changes, and you're following along with it. And then like, oh, cool. Here's Act 3, where now he is kind of going down that rabbit hole and getting in bad situations. It's falling apart. Oh, and here's Act 4, where now he is, it's almost like Nightmare Alley is almost like a 4-act structure. And you can follow it. And it's Nightmare Alley's very textbook, as I said earlier, right? The movie, he gets off the train. He
Follows
he follows a dwarf midget,
right.
Carny
guy
from part of the carnival.
Yeah.
He's attracted by what's this, and he follows him.
Like,
And then
this is interesting.
And then he hears Willem Dafoe doing the calling to hear about the geek,
Right.
this wonder, and he's instantly attracted to that and intrigued. And then from there, he goes literally into that belly of the whale. He opens up and takes the bait, because within 5 minutes he's helping search for the geek who's escaped.
Yeah.
And he goes literally, the devil, he's in that funhouse thing, and the devil's mouth opens.
Right.
And
It's
he
very
literally
symbolic.
walks through it. He comes through, there's a sign that says, look at the sinner, look at yourself in the mirror, do you see a sinner? And there's a mirror right there, and it says the word lust. So you see it and you go, oh, this is a movie about a man's
Sin.
downfall, right?
Yeah.
His own quest for fame and fortune and all these was going to ruin him. And he, which we'll talk about later, he's going after this geek, which is a downtrodden, drunken,
Right.
drugged out
Basically, a
person.
human being that they starve
At
and
their
beat
worst.
and at their worst.
And they'll do anything for money and drink, would thus bite a head off a chicken.
Yeah.
So within the first 5 or 10 minutes, Nightmare Alley says,
Lays it out
this
there.
is our film, and we're going to follow the structure. Where Parallel Mothers,
Does not. It's more unclear.
yeah, but it's saying, like you said, maybe if I lived in Spain, I would know more about
So
the
I
Civil
feel
War.
like.
But that's part of the point of the film, right?
Right.
The
to,
young mother,
To make you.
The adolescent mother is not, she goes, why do you care about all these dead bodies and all that, right? When talking to Penelope Cruz, part of the film there's so many layers that you have to dissect yourself, which is good and bad for a movie viewer. but because that was one of the points of the film is there's so many layers happening here that even some of our characters, the disconnection between youth and
And I think you
mature
understand
adults.
Penelope Cruz's take more as her persistence on the dead bodies in the grave and how not dramatic, persistent she is about that is because the Civil War only happened 10 years ago. So you think about that. Like, if we were in a society where a Civil War happened 10 years ago and your grandparent has been thrown into one of those graves, that would be a more traumatic experience for when we think like a Civil War so long ago occurred. It's kind of not even part of our generational thing. We know older people
well, we
who've
see
been
it a
part
bit.
of a war.
Honestly,
but
we see it a bit. And again, that was to your point about not clear fully what's going on. There's a lot of layers.
you really have to dig into that and understand
You have to
that.
dig in. Like I said, it's all there. It's a movie that you kind of have to watch more and think about more. And it's a question of, are you up to that task?
Right.
Or
Do
not.
you care about that? Yeah.
But and it doesn't do it in a spoon-fed way, which you could argue that Nightmare Alley.
Spoon
If
feeds
you've
it.
had one film 101 class, it's like I said, you could show I think the new Nightmare Alley in a film class and say one could argue this is a modern day film noir masterpiece because it kind of is, and just you could teach it in a movie class and a literature class. Like here's all the things you could do the same for Parallel Mothers, a contemporary film class. But this would be your final exam, dissect the themes in Parallel Mothers. Because I was going to say to your point about Civil War, it's obvious that the film's talking about the different generational view on the past. Penelope Cruz's character in her 40s, she cares about the past and respects it and understands it. The adolescent character does not. She says, you need to live in the present.
Yeah.
The present is all that matters. And we see it even in our study with September 11th.
Oh yeah, for
Right?
sure. Yeah.
It's people
It's
our age.
it's still on their hearts, and it's affected them in many a ways.
Yeah,
people
our ages and older, we experienced it, we lived it, we saw it. Just like, and so we respect it and understand it more, have a reverence towards it. The people
than
younger,
the
10 years,
millennials or
yeah, it's not the same deal. Just like Pearl Harbor wasn't a big deal to us.
right. So I think that also paralleled, for lack of a better word, of the theme of the mothers because Penelope Cruz is an older lady. She really wants a baby. She is pregnant. She has a baby. The younger girl is raped, basically, and is having a baby.
Well, the parallel
That
is
she-
two pregnancies happen at the same time under different circumstances.
Under different circumstances,
One's a one-night
they both
stand.
have different feelings about
They're
giving
both
birth,
one-night stands technically, but one is
Right.
forced and one is consensual.
and one is really wanted, and one is there's
Yeah.
mixed feelings about even wanting the baby, and
Oh, the pregnancy, yeah.
and the understanding of the maternal instinct and the just kind of understanding of it in general, of how much somebody could want that, and then essentially maybe be ripped away from them, you
Yeah.
know?
No, Parallel Mothers was really good in all the ideas it's presenting. Like you said, there's so many parallels. Like
Right.
everything, it's really, and it reminded me of a film which I was going to try to get us to watch this weekend, but maybe we'll promise our listeners here, make a promise between ourselves here. One of my favorite
good at
films of all time,
Is
Ingmar Bergman's Persona.
okay.
It's a foreign film. I've probably told you about it in the past.
You have.
Two women, one's a mute, one is like a nurse. They're on an island to get the mute, who's an actress, to feel better, to start talking again. And it's really just one character talking the other time to the other.
Okay.
I think it's in Swedish or something. But it's the same thing. It's this connection between two females who share experiences, but like similar experiences in their life, even though they never met each other. And even this movie had one or two shots. There's a couple famous shots from Persona. And I feel there were a couple shots in this film when they were sitting next to each other that were kind of a throwback to Persona.
Okay.
But yeah, this film made me think of that. But what I was, you know, why I brought up and why we should watch it is there are all these different parallels between these two women. I think generational parallels, the birth parallels, mother issues, but then also this mother-daughter relationship that emerges
Oh,
between
right,
them.
right, yeah.
And then also, which I thought of Persona, was also this sort of romantic connection between each other.
Right,
Potential
and I
as
kind
well.
of felt like that was coming on, so, which I thought was, I guess, expected in the fact of the situation.
Well,
I think she was trying to still be part of the.
No, we're good. We're good.
Oh, we're fine. Thank
No,
you.
you're good. No, I think all of that, without going into too much detail, I think all of it is just presenting, like the movie presents all these different parallels, all these different connections. And that's where I said, what makes it difficult is, it's the Goldberg drum behind us on the screen.
I knew that song.
I don't want to call it a tough watch, but it just demands more of you as a viewer, where Nightmare Alley is, I'm like, this is just like a carnival. This is a fun carnival movie.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
But I thought there's some depth to it.
Parallel Mothers takes effort. Like,
Yes.
it's not only because you're reading subtitles, but because you're really trying to understand what's happening and what's going on.
I think it could have
and
been a powerful 90-minute movie.
I agree. I think they draw out movies too much, but the whole. So I just read the article about the director, or an interview from the director. So this was his COVID project.
Okay.
He wrote this during COVID.
And him and Penelope Cruz have worked together before.
Yeah.
She's done other films with him.
Yeah, of course, she's really popular in the Spanish movie world.
Aldebarra.
And what was I going to say about it? Oh, the whole concept in the beginning of now that they can exhume these graves and do DNA testing on the bodies and whatnot, that law passed during COVID. So this was something that was between 2016 and 2019 was when he wrote the movie, but also when this law was being passed and there was fighting about it. It was a big deal because, again, the Civil War was only 10 years prior.
Yeah.
So this was something that was heavy on his mind. And then people from Spain, this was something that was very important during this COVID time period while COVID was going on as well. So that's some of the history behind that.
Yeah.
But it was okay. I don't know that I would want to watch it again.
Well, I don't know if
I pushed to see it. I was super excited to see it. I was slightly disappointed that it wasn't more intriguing. I didn't hate it. I loved Penelope Cruz, and I love the other actress, whatever her name is. What is her name?
We have to look it up.
She was great in it. Melina Smith. She was great, really great. But it was a long watch. I thought dozed off a couple times.
Penelope Cruz was great in it.
Yeah, she's.
But my thought is, when is Penelope Cruz truly not great in something?
She's good in anything she does.
She's really, really good.
She's captivating. She's a strong
You said
personality.
I'm actually, though I wasn't thrilled to okay, let's go see Parallel Mothers. I'd also purposely not watched any real trailers about it. And I was happy that, except for being as long as it was, I was happy that nothing really ever happened to make it captivating or thrilling or whatnot. Right?
Oh, well, I didn't.
Because there's a couple things which I think we'll talk about after the movie, after the music, about spoilers. Because there's one kind of big spoiler that I think opens up an interesting question about the film. But even with that, nothing ever went the direction you think it will go.
No.
If it's like
I wasn't expecting it at all.
I'm thinking about some
I
of these
didn't
other
have any
movies that have like a more
expectations of
like it could become this movie Parallel Mothers on 2 or 3 different turns could have instantly become a thriller.
Sure.
And you're like, oh, I see what's going to happen.
Oh, yeah, for
I
sure.
see what's going to happen.
No, I'm
And
glad it didn't go that route.
It never went that route ever.
I am definitely
a
glad.
very real route, what actually would happen in real life.
Mm-hmm.
It took a very emotional route, and it put questions on you as the viewer of like, how would I handle this situation?
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure. Especially if you're a mother. And
yeah, and these questions about motherhood and your child. And I felt it handled it.
Nature versus nurture.
It handled it very
the whole
accurately.
thing. Yeah.
The way it probably would happen.
Realistically.
One would feel powerless.
Absolutely. It's your worst nightmare as a mother.
See, you know what I love it? Organically.
As I talk about it more, the more I like it.
Well,
it's just a hard watch.
That's what I'm saying. It's
a hard watch in that it's drawn out.
It's a harder watch, but there's a lot going on.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It's just the way it's presented. It does meander a bit. It does get lost in its own ideas a bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's what I meant. By the end, when it brings it back to the grave situation and the generational thing, and even like tonally changes a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And it does become this movie about generations and family and preserving the past. And that you go, oh, I get it all now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you do get lost. That's what I meant earlier when I said, where's this going? And, oh, it should be ending any time now. And then it starts up a whole new
because
corner.
I didn't know the whole connection with the war, and I didn't know anything about the Spanish Civil War. I am embarrassed to say. Now I do, because I've read about it and whatnot.
Research.
But I was very confused in the beginning. Like, I knew what the movie was supposed to be about, and at the beginning I was like, what? Why does this have anything to do with what the movie is supposed to be about? So I was very like...
Well, you thought it was going to solely be, hey, these two moms almost in a delivery
giving
room,
birth
or in
the delivery room, having more, like the fact that part kind of went quickly. I was very confused. I thought the whole movie was going to be them,
because that's what you told me,
struggling. And
you're like, oh, it's about two moms with a generational divide between them who share a hospital room.
Well, when you read a summary about it, that's kind of what it says.
And I go, oh, okay, it's going to be two moms.
Kind of like Mass or something, like in a room.
Or I even thought like Persona, it's going to be two women talking about their thing and find the parallels in life. Like you, I saw it quickly swift by that within the first 20 minutes of the movie.
And I was like, what?
And I was like, oh, there's
Hold
more
up
to
here.
this. And it turned out to be, to quote our waitress at the restaurant we had right before the movie, an artistic film. We told her, it was funny. I only want to bring it up because she pegged us. She goes,
oh,
it's funny, the parallels. She's 20 years younger than us.
Yes.
And asking us if we want another drink or close out our tab. And we're like, we got to close out. We got to go to the movies.
We got to get to a movie.
And she's like, oh my gosh, what movie are you seeing? And we say, Parallel Mothers.
She goes, I've never heard of that.
You describe it to her. And she says, oh my gosh, I love artistic. It sounds like an artistic movie. I like artistic movies, which I get what she was trying to say.
Yeah.
But then she knows her mark.
She's going in on the tip.
She knows her mark, though. She pegged her audience.
She definitely. She
goes, oh, have you ever seen the film
Harold and Maude?
Harold and Maude.
Yeah, she pegged her audience. She was going for that tip. No, I think she was genuine, but yeah, she did peg us for sure.
Yeah.
But we actually had a really interesting night last night, but we don't even have time to go into all that.
That's a whole nother podcast.
That's a whole nother podcast.
Needless to say, this weekend we've met a lot of interesting
people.
Characters.
We really have.
In our hunt to either go to the movies,
find a place, get some food before, something, taking us on a journey this weekend.
Yeah.
A night before journey.
Yeah. So, but no, so that was Parallel Mothers.
So I would say if it sounds interesting to you, go for it. See it. But is it a must see? I don't think so.
No, what Parallel Mothers is this what it is. It's a great movie to talk to someone about.
It is, for sure.
If you got someone to chat about movies, go see Parallel Mothers.
There's
talk about it.
some depth to it, for sure. Some depth.
On the flip side, Nightmare Alley is a great movie you can just watch on your own.
True, and enjoy it. You don't have, there's not much to talk about. It's really good. The cinematography is good.
It's beautiful, and the whole thematic part is good.
But there's no anything left unknown or anything left to wrestle with. There's nothing to wrestle with.
The thing I want to talk about after we do the music here, so maybe we'll pause here and do our spoiler chat about Nightmare Alley and a little bit of Parallel Mothers.
Okay.
I think when we get to that, again, where Parallel Mothers, I think it opens up a whole discussion that you could talk to somebody about. Nightmare Alley, the person's going to either say, "Oh yeah, I saw that coming," like you did, 'cause I saw that coming, or they're going to say, "Oh, yeah, I definitely see that. You're right." Conversation over.
Yeah.
But again, they'll agree. Yeah, Nightmare Alley's put together really well. Nightmare Alley every little piece,
Everything falls into place.
Everything is deliberate in Nightmare Alley. It is, like I said, it's Guillermo del Toro, where Pedro, the director of
Parallel
Mothers, he meandered and lost himself in that theme. And it was just a jumbled mess of, not nice straight parallel lines, a jumbled mess of his ideas. But it was all there. Nightmare Alley is meticulous.
True.
In everything.
Yeah.
Like, the shots are beautiful. The way characters are introduced are beautiful.
Casting, perfect.
The performances are great. Every little thing in the background has a reason. Like, it's masterclass in how to use every inch of the screen and every second of your movie. Though it was long,
it was purposeful.
Everything had a purpose, right?
Yeah.
Like, even there's that scene where Willem Dafoe and Bradley Cooper are dropping off the geek, at the outside of the hospital.
Yeah.
And I did see this in color, which helped when I was rewatching a little bit this morning. In the black and white, in the background, you can see a neon sign that says
Jesus saves.
Jesus saves.
Yeah.
In color, some of those lights aren't lit up.
Oh.
And so only the U.S. of Jesus is lit up, and then saves is up, right? So it says, like, save us, right, in the background.
Oh. Yeah, you don't get that in the black and white.
No, you see Jesus saves.
Yeah.
But it still has that idea of salvation, of redemption, of this.
Yeah.
And we know it's not just talking about the drunk who's dying that they're dropping off. It's talking about Bradley Cooper. It's talking about Willem Dafoe. It's talking about all these carnival characters saying, save us, right? Where all our lives are in jeopardy.
They're living lives of con men and,
So I bring that up only, like, everything in Guillermo's movie is deliberately thought out and placed. Which,
Parallel Mothers
if
is
you
not.
appreciate that, like I said, you can watch and be like, oh my gosh, everything connects. And it's a fun, rewarding film. So let's do this.
Sure.
We might want to get one more drink.
I think so.
One more sour.
They're small.
And we're going to let the music play.
They're
also
mini
this place
sours.
closes in like 15 minutes.
It does?
At the close the Goldbergs, we're out of here.
Okay. It closes at 7?
I think it closes
Do you think we'll let us get another drink?
Yeah, I think we'll say we'll close out. And then we'll come back after the music.
Okay.
And we'll talk quick spoilers, our final thoughts about these two things. If you haven't seen the films, obviously don't listen to that part. But
yeah, don't listen to the ending.
All right, see you in a minute.
Okay, bye. Oh, we'll be back.
Yeah.
Okay, so at the end,
But at what point did you realize? My question is to you: what point did you realize this was all just a path for him to become the geek again?
I realized that. I realized that as they were in the psychologist lady's office, and they were starting. He was putting the money away in that safe, and it became like super dangerous for him.
Mm-hmm.
Like when they were at that old man's house, I was like, and they were. Especially when his wife was in the car, he's like, "This is the last one."
So at some
Da-da-da.
point, do you see he's going to end up in the cage back at the carnival?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I mean too. It was somewhere around there when, for me, it was when his tarot cards were read at his apartment
Oh, yeah.
by Toni Collette when she came back. And she goes, bad things are coming your way.
Yeah.
And my thought was, how great would this be if he becomes a geek? Like,
becomes the
he's
geek.
going to end up in a cage biting heads off chickens.
When he drank that whiskey or bourbon,
Oh, yeah, it was
I
like
thought
the first dangerous
that's
sip.
the downfall
Yeah.
because he hasn't drank the whole time, and he was something he prided himself on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's what I mean. What I loved about Nightmare Alley is, and even, I mean, you saw it when it's happening the first time, but even like going back and rewatching a little bit of it on HBO, like the whole movie is just, speaking of parallels, right? It's just him and the geek the whole movie. Like even initially, right?
Mm-hmm.
He goes and finds he's attracted to the geek.
Yeah.
Like he's entranced by it.
Attracted by the concept of it.
Yeah, it's what attracts him to the carnival. He is
but I
the
feel
one
like
who goes and finds him when he escapes, but
he
then
has
also
compassion for the geek.
yes, because
Which is weird because
no, he has compassion because that's what I'm saying. The movie says it's going to eventually be his own fate. He's seeing himself.
he's seeing himself because he in life really, and it shows that in the beginning scene, he doesn't have compassion. He doesn't have compassion for his wife that he ends up just
or even his father who
he doesn't
kills.
have compassion for his father, and we really see that at the end where he kind of kills his father.
No,
I mean,
does
his
kill his
father is old and dying, but he basically freezes his
He
dad
has
to
daddy
death.
issues. He kills his dad. He kills the guy Pete, who's like a father figure who teaches him the tricks, and then he kills Ezra, the rich father.
So
who,
the fact that he has all
abused
this
women.
compassion for the geek, I think, is really strange. I mean,
Yeah, I viewed that as
it's intriguing.
thinking of why is he so compassionate. My thought was because he sees himself in all this. Like he sees his true self for what he's going to become, or the fear of what he's going to
And
become.
the best part is at the end when the guy asks him to be the geek.
Well,
he knows. He says it's only temporary.
Yeah, the movie
And
sets
he
it
knew-
up. You know, the second he walked into that carnival office, you knew the second he walked in there that he was going to become the geek.
Yeah, but the way he starts laughing / crying, like, of course,
Yeah.
this is what I've meant to be. I've been
my
waiting
whole
for
life.
this my whole life.
And that's what I mean, the compassion part, because even when Willem Dafoe gives us the speech early on in the movie about how he gets the people in,
How he gets the geek. Yeah.
and Bradley Cooper's response to that is poor soul. The compassion part, but it's the whole film, and that's what I meant about like it's just a perfect movie to watch and enjoy. Textbook for Nightmare Alley is if you watch it just as Bradley Cooper's journey to becoming a geek, it's just fascinating.
Yeah, I agree.
Throughout the whole movie. And that's what made me love it even more than him getting shot or killed or him whatever, or him getting arrested, or heck, even him getting away with it. Like to me, it's like even when he was like on the run and he gets in that train car, he pulls all those chicken cages out of the way and hides behind them. And when that happened, I thought to myself, like I got giddy. I'm like, oh my gosh, he's becoming the geek. He's going to bite it.
He's caged himself in.
But he's with the chickens.
Yeah.
He's going to bite a head off a chicken.
Yeah.
Because even in the carnival, the cage is right next to all the chicken cages as well.
Everything is symbolic.
And I was like, oh, it's going to happen. It's actually going to happen.
Yeah.
And I was thrilled to see it happen. Like, because a lot of times you think movies, would it be great if it did this? And it actually did. And apparently the original does the same thing. It's all about, and the novel it's based off, it's all about becoming the geek,
Yeah, I really
your
liked
true self.
that part of it. And like you say, it was expected. I mean, you know that's going to happen. I mean,
Well,
you
what's
kind
fun
of,
is you have that realization, like,
know
oh
it's
my
gonna
gosh, this might happen.
but the fact that it actually
And then
happens
it does.
is good. I mean,
Yeah.
his fate, it's almost like a Greek myth. Like he can't escape his fate.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I thought was
Fate.
so good.
Fate.
And
Yeah.
his fate. And that's what's so great about the way it's directed is from the opening scene, it sets that up for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The whole movie.
Yeah. It is a really good movie.
So for that is what made this a great and the film for me. So I really, really like Nightmare Alley.
Mm-hmm. I liked it too.
Just as a fun movie to watch. Like it's one of those you just watch it and then you can just enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I was doing when I was watching it in color. And then on the other side, Parallel Mothers.
It ends
Well, it's
with
not so much the ending, but it's more of the. I think the big spoiler in there is the fact that the babies were switched.
right. I mean, at
that-
some point I expected that that's obviously what happened.
And then not only did their babies switch, but Penelope Cruz's baby
Died.
died.
The one that
Upon
the young
dis-
girl has been raising as
Upon
her own.
discovering the babies were switched,
She realizes her actual baby has died.
is dead. So then the big question is, what do you do?
Does she tell the girl that the babies were switched? Does she not? Does she keep her own child that she's raised from birth that she feels like is her child?
know.
Like nature versus nurture. It's not hers, but
But she says
she feels like it is.
So that's what I thought was interesting in the movie is, do you give up the baby you've been raising knowing that you don't get your other child back? Like, it'd be a tough enough decision to switch babies. Like,
It's a moral dilemma.
because it seems like it's only been about a year, maybe 6 months to a year. It would be tough to say, oh gosh, we got the wrong babies, let's switch them back.
Of
But I
course.
think ultimately you would get over that problem.
So at
But
first,
how do you do it when it's, oh, I learned about this? Because she does like a private investigation. Wait, she doesn't tell everybody she's doing this. But then what do you do when you're like, oh, not only are they switched, but my baby's dead now?
so I don't have one.
So
And
I
I
don't-
really don't have the opportunity to have another
Yeah,
one because
which
I'm an older mom.
She does eventually. She gets re-pregnant, but yeah.
She does?
Penelope Cruz?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
okay,
she
okay.
gets-
Right.
It ends
But
with her having another. But everything
it's-
works out happily in the
it's
movie.
the moral dilemma, you know? But
And that's what I mean. That's what almost like I was so happy it could have become a thriller where, and I was expecting it initially. Oh, she's going to go on the run with this baby and disappear. She changes her phone number. Is
Yeah.
Penelope Cruz going to disappear? And she
And
doesn't.
the weird psychological part is she kind of knows, so she starts to form a relationship with this girl, kind of like they're the parents of the baby. Because I think
Yeah.
that's her other thought
Yes.
of like, well, I'll just bring her in and we'll parent this child together,
Yes.
and then I'll never have to tell her. And
Or
we'll
when I
kind
do
of,
tell her, we'll maintain
we'll kind
a
of
relationship.
be like a relationship. But Penelope Cruz wasn't really into the relationship.
No.
She was just doing it for, how can I make this right?
Yes.
Without
what
telling her.
What ultimately made her tell the truth was she realized how infatuated Anna had gotten with her.
Right.
Because she was getting so jealous of her, of Penelope
Going
Cruz,
out with
going
the-
out with
The dad
the
of
father.
the baby, basically.
And she realized how consumed with jealousy she was and how emotionally attached Anna was. So Penelope Cruz had to tell her
The truth.
the truth. And then again, it's like, oh, is this going to take a thriller turn? Because even then I'm watching like my thriller movie brain is like, oh, Penelope Cruz is going to knock out Anna or take the baby and run or something, right?
Yeah.
But instead she just cries as
Like
Anna
it's-
takes
she's
her
grief.
baby and
It's
goes home.
grief. Yeah.
She's like, I'm leaving. There's no fight. There's no thing. There's no physical altercation. It's just she's gone.
Which is more realistic.
Yeah. So I just thought the movie, but again, it also doesn't dwell on any of that either. It just sort of moves on. But it does present this interesting question of what the heck do you do? And you have sympathy for Penelope Cruz's character throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, it was interesting, and the more I talk about it, the more interesting it is. But like I said, it was
that's
a
right.
hard
It's the better
watch.
talk about movie,
Yeah.
and that's what I mean. It's all in there in Parallel Mothers. You just have to
Dissect it.
fish it out.
Pull it out. Yeah.
Where Nightmare Alley, you're like, oh yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's really good, but I got it.
Yeah.
Nothing to talk about.
Right.
Where we could go on for a while. So
Yeah, that was fun.
I
It was a
also
fun
like-
movie weekend.
yeah, and I also like how organically our episode here we did a parallel discussion between the two movies.
I do. I like that.
We-
We didn't plan that.
We prep saying we'll talk about Nightmare first, then we'll talk about
but
Parallel.
organically, it
just
came.
happened.
It just happened.
Okay.
So that was good.
So now How I Met Your Mother's on. Nope, this is Big Bang Theory. So we won't
That's
keep
fun. That's a
the
nice,
lovely folks
yeah,
at
they
Grindhaus.
They are closing. They are so nice here.
and we don't want to
We don't want to keep them. It's a Sunday night.
They've been working. Listen, we used to own a business. We know how it goes. You want to go home.
It's true.
As much as cool podcasters are.
Are you referring to us?
I'm talking about us. As
Okay.
cool as we are. We got to go. No, so let's finish our drinks,
Okay.
our beakers, our sours. Cheers. And
Until
our
next time.
movies. All right. Bye.
Bye.